Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds and welcome to another episode of Ask the Cheeseman. This is episode 138 and I'm very happy that so many people are here. Thank you so much for coming to watch the Cheeseman, and we will be asking I'll be answering, fingers crossed, your home cheese making questions. So, what's been going on this week? Well, crazy times across the world, as we all know. Many countries are in lockdown. In Australia, apparently it's good that you can still go to the hairdresser. Our government has no idea. Anyway, for all those who are in lockdown, thanks for watching. And I did notice that somewhere in there, I think Ruth said that good thing about lockdown is you can get to watch the Cheese Show live. Well, if that's what it takes, then that's absolutely fantastic. Alrighty, so the big shout out today to new YouTube member Grace. Thank you, Grace, for your YouTube membership. And to two new patrons this week, thank you to Emily and thank you to Joseph for becoming financial supporters of the show and the channel. It's absolutely fantastic. Now, videos this week, I have in post-production is Morbier. I'm at the stage where I'm actually washing the rind of the cheese with Brevibacteria linums and some Geotrichum candidum, and that'll make a red mould smear over the cheese. It's a very light one with Morbier, but it creates a nice softness within the cheese. So that's what's happening there. Last weekend I tried to make burrata and it was an absolute dismal failure. So I kept the footage, of course, so I'm making a video on my burrata failure, and it turned out to be quite a nice table cheese, which we've been eating. So anyway, more on that when you see the video. Hopefully I'll get that one up this weekend. I'm halfway through working on it at the moment. Also in post-production is 15 ways with whey. That number may go up every time somebody gives me a suggestion. I throw it in there. Seems to be the longest post-production video I've ever done. And the other day when I was making that failed burrata, I actually did a sneaky little time lapse in the background. So I'm just going to throw that up there as well, just to show how long it actually takes to make cheese. For those of you who don't make cheese yet, you can see how long. And this was a pasta filata cheese, so it did take a fair bit of time to make, and a lot of, I did cut a bit out of it because there's so much waiting time for waiting for the pH to drop down to the right acidity level. Now although that my pH test strips do work, they're little dipsticks for swimming pools, kind of, but they're for cheese making. I don't think I got an accurate reading, so I'm going to have to invest in a pH meter. And there's a company here in Australia that makes some pretty good ones. They're about $150 each, specifically for cheese making. So I'm gonna grab some of that with a little bit of the patron money that people send my way to make the channel better. Hopefully we won't have any more burrata failures. Anyway, let's get on with the chitty chat, the answering the questions. We've got some all the way back. We'll say a few hellos first. I can't see who that first question's from, and probably because there's a pin that I put up there in the way. Valentina, g'day to Valentina. Hello to Hubert, Laura, Ambrose, Wolfhound 180, Herbert, The Wrench, Bartos, I think that's how you say it. Who else? Kim, the lovely Kim, who's moderating, of course. Jordan, g'day Jordan. James, Ruth, of course. Thank you, Ruth, for turning up. And Martin, Paul. Who else we got? Wilma, Charlie. Borgen. Oh, can't even say that. Juries. Sorry. Bullangaries. I think that's how you say it. Mr. Softball, or Mrs. Jack. Larry from Deep South, Texas. Adina Rose. Manel, g'day Manel. Bill, Jason. S&C. Larry, I'm an abomination. Hey Cards. And that'll do to start with, and then we'll get into some questions, shall we? Let's do that. Let me take a sip of my lovely coffee first. Now, don't forget that the oh my goodness, I was just about to say that the Curd Nerd life goes off. Ruth, oh pardon me, Ruth, thank you. And there's your little super chatty thing there. Has a question. Oh my good, cats and dogs living together. Let's just turn that Curd Nerd light off. And Ruth has the first one. She says, for your pH meter, oh thank you Ruth, I really do appreciate the $20 and a successful burrito video, not a burrito. But that's cool. Thank you so much for your $20 super chat, Ruth. I really appreciate it. That'll go a long way towards that. Okay, back to the first question. Where is it? Valentina says, hello, Gavin. Hope you are well today. I'm as well as can be. You make incredible cheese, and my goal is to make the quick mozzarella. My question is how you got into cheese making and what inspired you. Pardon me. Well, there's a whole chapter in my book, Keep Calm and Make Cheese, on how I started cheese making. It's a very long story. Grew up on a dairy farm. We never made cheese. I think the closest thing to cheese we made was butter, and Mum used to make butter all the time, which was good. But we never made any cheese, except we had an abundance of raw milk, and it just never happened. So, because they just didn't know. They weren't traditional dairy farms. Dad just took it as a job after he worked on the railways for like 20 years or something like that. And I grew up on a dairy farm. But what sparked me to go and start making cheese? Well, back in 2009. Kim and I had changed our lives to be a little bit more sustainable. And one of those things was growing our own veg, getting our own chooks, saving water and cutting down electricity as much as we could. And what we also did was decide to start making things like, preserving our grown goods in the garden and preserving. And one thing I thought of was, well, hey, cheese is something that should be fairly simple to make at home. And I tracked down a local cheese making course, which was okay. I wouldn't say it was the best, but it was fun. And I made my first feta, and after that I just haven't stopped making cheese. I caught the churrophile bug, and here I am making cheese all the time. So what inspired me? Well, I don't know, myself, I suppose. I just wanted to make it. That's all there was to it. Okay, Laura says, hello Gavin, I'm aging a Gruyere, your recipe, and coming to the brushing point. What kind of brush do you use? And is dry brushing enough to clean off the mold growth? Yes, I use a soft bristle brush, Laura. Not, those little, where did I get it from? It's a baby brush, not a baby nail brush. Yeah, that's what it is. It's little, very soft bristles. They are artificial, but it's probably best to get natural bristles if you can. And yeah, it is enough to clean off. You brush it just gently over the cheese. It's enough to get rid of the mold. So yeah, you shouldn't have any problems with that. Just a soft bristled brush, and that seemed to work quite well for me. Okay. Ambrose says, hey Gavin and Kim, hope you're doing well. Yes, I think we are, Ambrose. Kim's A bit tired. She's going to go back to bed after the live stream, but that's okay. She's allowed to. Wolfhound says, good evening, Gav from Ohio. How do you store your cultures in the freezer? I've seen some jars before. Is that how you store all of your cultures? Well, I just happen to have one of the little jars that I store. You'll see there. A little sample jar, a little specimen jar. They're sterilised. So when I open the packet of the culture, I pour it into one of these and screw the lid on tight, which you can. You get a good seal, and you don't get freezer burn on the cultures. They don't go gluggy or anything like that. So that works really well. So you get a specimen jar. Should be able to find a pack of those at the chemist, maybe even. I think you can. And use that to store your cultures in the freezer, and they won't get freezer burn. I've been using cultures that have been, they've been expired or best before date of over a year, and they still work fine. As long as you can keep them from going gluggy, they'll work okay. Excuse me, I've got a bit of a frog in my throat today. Okay. Next question. Laura says, at least we can all make cheese in quarantine. Yes, if you can get the milk delivered. That's one of the issues that I may be facing soon, is that although we're not in full lockdown here in Victoria, you can still go out to the supermarket if you need to, and you can still go to chemists and hairdressers, as I mentioned. That rule's probably changed overnight, who knows? Everything changes so quickly. We can still get deliveries. We've actually, here's something that I needed to say, was that we've actually had to suspend international deliveries at the moment. We just cannot get Australia Post, who's our main international shipper, or carrier, sorry, is the right word, to pick up from our house like they used to. They suspended the service to protect their drivers or post guys. However, they're still delivering to the house, which is just crazy. So exactly the same thing. So we've had to suspend international shipments at the moment. So anybody planning to visit littlegreenworkshops.com.au from outside of Australia, unfortunately we can't ship it to you. So your orders won't go through. We are trying to rectify that. We're working with our courier aggregator. We've got an aggregator who does all our courier services, so we get the cheapest deal for our customers. And we're working, there's a software issue they've got that it won't display any live quotes on our website for international orders. So we're working on that at the moment. Hopefully that'll be finished in the next week, and the couriers are still running, which I believe they will be. A lot of countries, their e-commerce stores are encouraged to stay open if they can. With Kim and I only being a small company, there's only 3 of us working here, and we're all in the same family, so we'll have no issue staying open. As long as we can get the carriers to come and pick up the orders, we should be fine. Anyway, it's a community announcement, but yeah, thanks Valentina for the prompt there. Okay, moving right along. Ruth says, hello fellow curd nerds, hope with all this going down we get more time to make cheese. I hope so too. Oh, that's Jordan, sorry, not Ruth. Thank you, Jordan. Yeah, I've actually got 4 litres of cream. Is it heavy cream? I can't remember. It's cream anyway, and it's pure. So I will be making some butter and doing a video on some herbed butter as well. That's the other video I was going to make. I forgot to put it on my list. Okay. And then Ruth under that says, Gavin and Kim and World of Curd Nerds, hello from lockdown San Francisco. I hope all are healthy and safe. I hope everybody's avoiding the coronavirus as well as they can, and if you can't, hopefully you have a mild strain of it. Martin says, I don't have space or tools to make cheese, but I love this person's video. Well, thank you very much, Martin. Appreciate it. Paul says hello to the Webbers. Hello, Paul. Charlie says, hi Gavin, everybody. Not been able to get here for a while. Still using lots of your recipes though. Thanks, Charlie or Wilma. Not sure which one's there, but you're both there. That's very cool. Ruth's doing her own cheese a day challenge, which is very cool if you can get the milk in these troubled times. What else? 2096 Softball says, hi Gavin, as someone who has never made cheese before but is very bored in quarantine, do you think the Camembert cheese making kit will be too advanced? No, the instructions in the kit are fairly good. They are simple as far as I can tell. I've used that recipe before and it works okay. I think it'll be okay. You could give it a go. There's no reason why you couldn't start with Camembert. It is more of an intermediate cheese. You really do have to have the right conditions to mature the cheese. So in one of the kits, I think the Mad Millie specialty cheese kit comes with a ripening box and the other one doesn't. But you have to have the right conditions. So it has to be initially aged at about 10 degrees Celsius for the mold to grow properly, and then you can put the ripening box into the fridge to slow down proteolysis, which is a breakdown of the proteins that the Penicillium candidum does during its maturation, which makes the cheese go all soft and gooey in the middle. So you need the initial slightly warmer temperature than what the kitchen fridge can offer. So have a think about that before you start making cheese. One of these, there is a whole list, and Kim, if you're still there, darling, can you pop up the list for Mr. or Mrs. Softball there? The beginner's cheese list that you don't need a cheese fridge for. So Kim will pop up the link to that video. Jack says, hope you and your family are safe and doing well in these difficult times. Indeed we are. Business is, well, as far as Little Green Workshops goes, which is our main business venture, is doing well. YouTube's doing very well. As you can see, I don't know if you can see the little counter back there, we're up to 209,000 subscribers, up from, was it 2 weeks ago, 172, so nearly increased by, what's that, 45,000 subscribers in 2 weeks. I tell you what, it took years and years to get to 45,000 subscribers in the first place, but you know, it seems once you get over 200, it seems a bit of a runaway effect as far as YouTube recommending and all that sort of stuff goes. Anyway, but that's cool. Ruth says, this is my first question. Do we get a diploma for completing the 6 cheeses we must make in 2020? Oh, haven't thought about it, Ruth. Maybe. Could do. I'll make a certificate for you in Word. How's that sound? You can get, you pass the, well, you passed the Curd Nerd Academy, Ruth, because you've you signed up for it. So yeah, I don't think you'll have any trouble with that. What's going on here? I've got some issues with the view account thing not working. Oh, that's why. Let's fix that. The computer says no. Oh my god, it's all happening. Hang on. View account's now working. Done. Yep, okay. Cool. Alrighty, so back to the fray. Oh, goodness me, everything's... Computer says no. Right, all fixed. The counter now says 90. Where was I up to? So yes, I'll make you a certificate, Ruth, if you wish. I think there was one for the Curd Nerd Academy. Just refresh my memory in the chat when I get down to the bottom. I haven't even got to 8:30 yet, and it's 8:49. I'm 20 minutes behind, but we'll get there. All right, next question. Jason, well, more of a statement, I suppose. Jason says, folks, don't forget to hit that like button so that YouTube can know we love the Cheeseman and want more. Indeed, that's what it does. So yes, you can do that. If you hit the like button, that helps a lot to get the videos, not only this one, but other videos that I make recommended and show up in the little sidebar or the recommend at the end videos for people who don't normally watch. But any engagement, especially all the chats, are just fantastic. That's great engagement. YouTube algorithm, and I don't pretend to know how it fully works, but it works on watch time, and by you lovely Curd Nerds watching this video for an hour, sends a message to YouTube saying, hey, you really like this stuff. And watching all the other videos all the way through also sends the same message. Likes also count, as well as comments and chats in Livestream as well. So yeah, thank you, Jason, for that kindly reminder. Where are we? Oh, Patricia's here. Hello, Patricia. Love to see you. Eric, Eric and Starshot. I'm sure there's another question here somewhere. Oh, here we go. Paul has a question. Hello, Gav. I made 3 tries at Havarti, all failed. Very bitter with large, crumbly layers. I've tried both. More and less acid develop. Could it be too much or too little salt? I'm at a loss. Yeah, usually that crumbliness indicates that you aren't using enough salt. So remember, it's about, for Havarti, probably about 2% salt by weight of curds. So you'll have to figure it out. You have to weigh your curds and figure that out. I also found that because Havarti is a washed curd cheese, I found there is actually a difference. If you use tap water as the wash water, I find that all sorts of weird things happen. The Havarti tends to be a little bit moister and flattens quicker as well. Can't attest to the bitterness. The bitterness is definitely a result of either too much culture or not enough salt. So you'll have to muck around with those a little bit, because all cultures are different. Yeah, so I tend to use now I buy it in a box. It's pure water that has no chlorine, no fluoride and all that sort of stuff in it, like tap water does. And these days, because the water companies are using stuff called, I think it's called chloramine, it doesn't dissipate when you boil the water. So you can't boil your water from the tap and leave it overnight. The chlorine stays there, it's persistent. So that's a bit of a problem for cheesemakers. So I'm buying 10-litre boxes or casks like we have in Australia for wine, and that's full of water, so pure water. And I use that as the washing water for curds. I find that works a lot better. You also don't get in those washed curd cheeses any cracks or fissures through the middle of the cheese, which if you look back to my Edam video, and Kim, if you can throw that up there, that'd be lovely, the link to that. Look at the Edam video, there were a lot of cracks and fissures, and I couldn't figure out why. And it was because I used chlorinated water during the washing of the curds. So, there you go. Okay. Craig, g'day mate. This is morning mate, hope you are both okay. We're doing okay in our, we're in self-isolation, 3 weeks I think we've been self-isolated because Kim's immune compromised because of her chemotherapy. So we're having to self-lock down ourselves anyway. We haven't touched anybody for, I can't remember when. Can't remember last time I shook somebody's hand, but yeah, always washing our hands, always sanitising. Well, Ben doesn't go out. Well, he's self-imposed lockdown as well. Because we really don't want to spread anything to Kim, even though she caught a cold the other day, a week and a half ago. She's starting to get over that now, just at the tail end of it. A little bit of a chesty cough she's got, but no fever, nothing like the symptoms of the coronavirus, so that's good. She's trying to get over that before she goes back to chemo. Anyway, oh, I've missed so many bits. I just scrolled up too far. Where am I up to? 8:30. The The Wrench Review says, failure analysis is a step to learning and greater success. I think you're referring to the burrata video, and that, yeah, is definitely definitely the case. That's why I put up any videos that may or may not work. Jackie said, thank you so much for sharing your cheese tips. It's always lovely to watch you work. Thank you, Jackie. Appreciate it. Random Player says, can you make a fail compilation while explaining what went wrong as an example as what not to do? I actually do have something like that already, Random Player. Kim, can you put up the video? I think it was when cheese goes wrong or cheese fails or something like that. I'm not sure of the title. But yeah, you can. I've already done something like that, and I did explain what happened and where I went wrong. Usually, it's neglect is the right word I was looking for. Neglect on my behalf during maturation, not during the cheese making process. I usually get that pretty good, got that down pat now. But it's neglect on my behalf, getting too busy during the week and forgetting about the cheeses in the cheese fridge, especially the ones where you either have to wipe the rind or get rid of mold or flip them over on a daily basis. That kind of, yeah, gets in the way of life. But yeah, give it a go. Rachel says, have you ever heard of, Cancoletti, a French runny cheese? No, I haven't. I haven't heard of that at all. There's so many cheeses, there's no doubt that I've never heard of these cheeses. I'll have a look at that one and see what sort of cheese family it's in. See, it's on the list, but like I said, I don't guarantee things in the list to always work. Cool. So yeah, that's what's going down. Where are we? I'm an abomination says, I want to make cheese, but the stores are closed here. Well, you'll find most people pick up their cheese making supplies at online retail stores like we do. Very rarely do some of them have storefronts. I was just talking to one of our wholesalers the other day, and he says he's actually closed his storefront, but he's still shipping e-commerce to wholesalers and to customers that not turn up to the door. They're not doing that. We've done the same thing. We've actually closed down our click and collect service, so nobody can collect orders from the house, even though we can maintain a safe distance. But I just don't want to risk it. I don't want to risk my health or Kim's health as well. United Amendment Outpost. Oh no, one before that. Amy says, I have a lot of temperature fluctuations in my home, wondering how this would affect making cheese, or anyway, if you know how to keep the temperature stable. I think you're talking about the air temperature. Not that much of an issue, really. The only time that you need the temperature kind of stable, I suppose, is when the cheese is in the press. And as long as it's about 21 degrees Celsius, room temperature, then it's okay. Even if it's a bit warmer, it's okay. You know, our internal temperature during summer is about 25, mostly 25 Celsius. Don't know what that is in Fahrenheit. That seems to be okay for the cheese, even when it's sitting on the counter doing air drying. It's about 25 degrees Celsius. Can be colder in winter, so usually that's okay. Well, that's a super chat from Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. Let's just have a look what you got to say for yourself and try and turn that curtain light off. Oh, pardon me. I have an Emmentaler and a goat Gouda, and I want to send by mail within Canada. It will be vacuum packed. Do you reckon the cheese will survive? It's pretty cold in Canada, isn't it? During the winter, anyway. And what is it now? It's just starting spring. Oh, you might get away with it, Patricia. I'm not sure. I haven't ordered cheese by mail order by from, say, not like home shopping or anything like that, where they deliver it straight away out of a cold van. I'm not sure if it'll survive in the post. I know that we've got another one. Well, anyway, I'll finish this one first. Thank you for the next super chat. We'll get to that in a sec. I don't know. I have sent before a hard cheese, so like Parmesan, to some friends in New South Wales, and that got there okay. I vacuum packed it. It's a hard cheese, lot less moisture, lot less prone to spoilage. So that got there okay. So you could probably do that. You wouldn't have any issues with spoilage if it's a hard cheese. So I'll leave that there, but it depends on how dried out your Gouda is. If it's been aged for a long time and it's fairly dry, then it'd be okay. Emmental, yeah, it's not really a moist cheese. You may get away with that as well. So hope that answers your question, Patricia. All right, so the next one is from Nathan. Next super chat. Thank you, Nathan, for your kind $5 super chat. Does oh, bit of a tickle. I'll fix that. Coffee fixes everything. Does humidity of the cheese cave matter when waxing or vacuum packing cheese? No, it doesn't. In fact, my cheese fridge, the humidity is about 50%. And that's just because it's got the little freezer section at the top that turns on and off, and a little bit of moisture gathers in there. It's not a massive. There's not a lot of water or moisture in there, or humidity. I suppose that's the right word. It doesn't matter at all. So when you wax cheeses, it's got to be a little bit. It can't be really dry. The wax dries out occasionally, but it can't be like 10% humidity in the fridge. Usually it's a lot higher than anyway. Vacuum packing, no problem at all. We don't need to worry about the humidity. What I do to increase the humidity for individual cheeses is use ripening boxes, and you would see those in a lot of the videos that I use. Thanks for your question, Nathan. Okay, back to the normal chitty chat. Where are we up to? Rue says, no, where are we? United Amended Outpost says, I'll tell you what I know. What? I'll tell you what I know. We are on lockdown, but if you have a cell phone and a video recorder on that cell phone, you can go out and record anybody you want and do a First Amendment audit. We don't have amendments to our Constitution here, so I don't know what you're talking about. Grady says, howdy from Texas. G'day, Grady. Hakeem says, thank you, Gavin. Don't know what for, but I'll take your thanks. Thanks, mate. Bartos says, do you have any plans to make Oskipek cheese? I would like to do it, but have no idea how. Well, that makes two of us. I have heard of this. I think it's a Polish cheese. I think it is. Don't flame me if it isn't, but I'm pretty sure it is. And I think they got these little wooden molds and they smoke it, and yeah, I've heard of them. Ulfric says, what's your opinion on that Italian maggot cheese? I think you're talking about Casu Marzu. I wouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole. And it's illegal anyway to export outside of, is it Sardinia or Sicily? Can't remember which one. It's one of those two Italian islands. Colin says, g'day Gav, g'day Colin. Patricia says, wondering about a couple of your early videos, Sherv and traditional mozzarella, which you recorded outside on your patio. Were you banished? Was the kitchen out of commission? Just curious. Just a change of pace. It was autumn or spring, I think, when I recorded those, which is a good temperature to make cheese outside. So I probably will be doing that again soon. Because, actually, unfortunately, we've got a lot of stock on the deck at the moment, so maybe I won't be doing that soon. But yeah, it was good fun, and I could set up some cameras, and the lights were a bit of a pain in the bottom because I was out there so long. I would have to find extension leads for the lighting, and PowerPoints are a bit scarce out there as well. So it was a bit of a pain in the bottom to film out there and get a consistent result. But yeah, it was good fun. I did enjoy making them out there. I probably would do it again, but we'll see. But thanks for asking anyway, Patricia. Morgan says your videos are great. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Thank you, Morgan. Manel says, when I failed to get a good pH for curd mozzarella, how to solve this problem? Not my pH is 4.3 for the curd. Can I put citric acid or sodium citrate at the hot way to increase the pH? Well, the pH of 4.3, that's way too low. Mozzarella stretches between a pH of 5.3 and 5. Now, I missed that mark because when I was making the burrata for the last week's video, the pH dropped dramatically, and it was because I was using a new starter culture. And my timings were out. The previous videos where I made traditional mozzarella and Oaxaca, which are good stretch curd cheeses, and I had no problems. I was using my normal thermophilic of MOT92, which seems to work fine and for the timings that I have. But because I didn't have my pH test strips weren't working as well as I wanted them to, yeah, that was a bit of an issue. And a bit of runaway acidification, and it just wouldn't stretch. It went into a mould nicely enough, and it formed a very nice cheese, and I brined it, and it tastes okay. George says, another great stream. Thanks, Gavin. Your channel is great. Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. Chad says, stay well and stay safe. Thanks, Chad. And Mary Ann, hello from NH. New Hampshire? Yeah, maybe New Hampshire. I'm not au fait. We don't learn the states of the states. We learn our states, but that's about it. Questions. Bill says, is there any cheese you can't make with goat's milk? Don't know. You should give it a go. Not sure. I know you can make lots. I haven't come across a cheese that you wouldn't be able to make with goat's milk. They won't taste the same as cow's milk cheese if they're specifically normally made with cow's milk. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. Wind Wolf Alpha says, oh no, the cough. No, it's not a dry cough, it's just a tickle. I've had a cold for the last 3 weeks, and it's not coronavirus because we don't have a fever. Anyway, John says, with all these planetary events happening, you should be at 400,000 in a couple of weeks of people searching for vids to watch. Well, I must say, John, that viewership is definitely up, as we've said. But a lot of that activity was due to that meme on Twitter that I shared in the thank you 200,000 video that I showed you, which kind of went viral then on every single meme site. So it was a bit crazy. John says, eat more buttermilk blue cheese. It is very good. Okay, we've got another super chat there. Let's just kill the light. That is from Jim Jackson. Thank you, Jim, for your $5 super chat. Appreciate it, mate. Greetings, King and Queen of the Curd Herd. It is great to see you live today. Thank you, mate. I really appreciate it. And I love those little thanks, Doc emojis you got there. Very cool indeed. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it, mate. Okay. Yeah, where are we? John says, go back the next day and buy another 2 pints. No, what are we doing? Sorry, what's that in relation to? Oh, Ambrose asked, any suggestions for cheese you can make with only 2 pints of milk? 2 pints of milk is 600 millilitres, I think. Is that right? It's being rationed to 2 bottles per shop. yeah, I think like John says, go back over a few days and get yourself enough for 4 litres. I don't know how many pints that is, but 4 litres, and you'll be able to make yourself a nice little cheese, Ambrose. I think just store up the milk. Yeah, it won't go off in a day. If you can go get 2 a day, then you can do that. Ruth says, does curd stick more to the cheesecloth in cool weather? I made parmesan twice this week, and both times terrible sticking. I did spray with white vinegar. Pardon me. I would suggest definitely that spray white vinegar. Now, I do get this sometimes when the cheese temperature is really high. So that's when the curd temperature, and if you're making Parmesan, Ruth, obviously the curds are about 52 degrees Celsius at the end of the process when you pour them into the cheesecloth to before you form them in the mould. So yeah, a bit of an issue there. Vinegar, so I make sure that the cheesecloths are moist. They've got to be moist. And I achieve that by making sure that when I sanitize all my equipment by boiling, that the cheesecloth's in there as well, so it's really wet. I just leave the cheesecloth in the ball in the colander until I need to spread it out so it's moist. And then I spray it with vinegar if I've got high temperature cheese. And I don't have too many problems. There are disposable cheesecloths. I've seen them in some wholesalers. We don't stock them because I don't really believe in throwing things away after single use, but you can get a single use cheesecloth, and they are it's a type of plastic, a very flexible plastic. Seems to work very well, and you don't get any sticking. So there's a suggestion. But no, I don't think it's anything to do with the weather per se. I think it's the acidity of the curd tends to want to stick to the cheesecloth. It's a bit of a pain. But yeah, those disposable cheesecloths, a lot of commercial operations now use them. So that seems to work. Okay, Andrea says, I'm taking a break from cheese making. How long do you think all my expensive cultures, rennet and lipase, will last in the freezer? Well, very good question, Andrea, and I have an answer for you. I'll just go to Little Green Workshops, and I do have a little thing underneath all of my cultures. I'll just get that up so everybody can see it in a second. Where are we? Let's go to the desktop view. I don't know if you can see that, but it says, oh, wrong one. That'll be the only one that I don't have it listed on. Let's go to that one. There we go. All right, so I'll see if I can make this bigger. Where's the plus sign? There we go. Alrighty, so down here, so shelf life of cultures, molds and enzymes. As you can see there, it says at room temperature they'll last 1 to 2 months. In the fridge they'll last 6 to 12 months, as long as they don't get any moisture in them and they're still dry. And in the freezer they'll last 2 to 5 years. No problems at all. Like I said, I've been using cultures a year to 2 years past their best before date and never had any issues. They acidify fine, so I don't really have any troubles. So hopefully that answers your question, Andrea. That works. The Wrench Review says, got chickens, pickled eggs. Yep, tried that ages ago. We've only got 1 chicken now, so it's not that much of an issue as far as lots of eggs go. So that seems to work fine. We get through them in omelettes and stuff like that. We've got another super chat. Thank you so much for flashing up the sign. Who is that? That's Paul. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate your $5 super chat. Said, have you ever thought of accepting a more substantial donation to make a cheese of donor's choice in a time frame you can work with? Kind of. Not for sale, unfortunately. I suppose if they commissioned me to make a cheese, then that probably would be okay. I don't know about the technicalities of that. However, I'm working at the moment with a company out of the Netherlands called Lordy, which make cheese molds, and they've graciously sent me over some Gouda molds, a 1 kilo Gouda mold and a 3 kilogram Gouda mold. That's not the weight of the molds, that's the weight of the curd you put in them. And they've got these micro perforations. I've never seen it before. They look amazing, and I'll share them in the sponsored video. They've sponsored a video. They have all these little tiny holes, so you don't need a cheesecloth apparently. Now, I'll have to figure out how they work and get them to work, but I have, as far as commercial sponsorships go, then I'm quite happy to do that. Probably not so happy to do a donation from an individual to make a cheese. So yeah, sponsorships, yeah, I'm cool with. But yeah, I don't want individual sponsorships. Probably not a good thing. But anyway, thanks Paul for your recommendation and your super chat. I appreciate it. Okay, I'm up to, I did pickled eggs. Buttermilk. Ruth says buttermilk blue is my new nemesis. Oh, it was mine, but I tell you what, once the cheese matured, Ruth, it was absolutely fantastic. A delightful cheese. Couldn't believe how creamy and delightful it was. Toby says, hey Gav, thanks for the amazing videos. You've inspired us to make cheese. 3 so far, Gouda, a cheddar and a chili Leicester. Nice. We've tried to make ricotta from the leftover whey, but we never get any ricotta curds forming, even at high temperatures. Well, that's not good. So not sure what's going on there, Toby. Usually I find, I'll just get the light and I'll get that super chat in a second. Usually you can't make ricotta out of whey that is acidified, so acidified whey. But sweet whey, so stuff made with those cheeses you mentioned, yeah, definitely you should be able to make ricotta, no problems at all. Unless, of course, you've added maybe a little bit too much rennet, and you'll find that if your whey isn't cloudy or creamy, or if it's clear, there'll be no ricotta to be gained at all. So it depends on the cloudiness of your whey after you've made the cheese. If it's slightly cloudy, yeah, you'll get a bit of ricotta. If it's clear, no way at all. Get no ricotta at all. Anyway, let's get to that super chat. Paul says, not for sale, just a cheese video as usual of our choice. That sounds interesting. Yeah, I suppose that could be done. I'd have to work on that. But yeah, shout out to anybody who wants a substantial donation and make a cheese of their choice. I'd have to negotiate, of course, because if I can't find a recipe, then I can't make the cheese, basically. But yeah, sure, I'll be up to that, Paul. We can have a chat. If you want to do that, that's fine. But yeah, if anybody wanted to do that, then they could email me. There's an email address in the About tab of the channel. You can email me, and if you wanted to commission, I suppose, is a cheese video, then yeah, sure, I'll be up for that. Maybe not so much whilst the coronavirus lockdown's going on, because like I said, the availability of the milk may be an issue very soon, as Andrea is experiencing. I think it was Andrea. Somebody was experiencing. Ambrose, sorry. Okay. Tamer says, hi Gavin and Kim, all the best to you. My aging fridge goes up to 8, but not within the ranges of 10 to 13. Does 8 degrees aging temperature stop aging of cheeses like Gouda, Edam or Romano type? Probably be okay, Tamer, at that lower temperature. They'll just take longer to mature. So yeah, just be aware of that. You may want to get yourself an external thermostat. And yeah, you can find those online. Usually on Amazon's pretty good. Another super chat. Thank you very much. This is from Justin, and there's your little thingy, your little thing. Very cool. Justin, thank you for your $9.99 Sending this just to support you. I received my 2 molds today. Just got to get cultured and other equipment. Seriously looking forward to getting started. Thank you, Gavin. Thank you, Justin, for your kind super chat. And all the best luck with making your cheese. Hope that works out fine. So anyway, back to timer. Yeah, get yourself an external cheese thermostat, and you'll be able to then put the temperature of your fridge up a little bit. John says, devil's in the detail. Ruth, with all our on again, off again, rain, sunshine, probably all the humidity causing your cheesecloth problems. Could be, John. Not sure, mate. George says, hi, Gavin. Would you ever set up your own cheese company and go regional, national? No intention whatsoever to set up a cheese company. I don't have the money. I don't have the space to make a commercial kitchen. And I don't have the inclination. I'd rather film home cheese making videos for you guys and girls, and put them out there on the interwebs. I get far more pleasure than the stress and of making my own cheese for sale. You'll have to get it right every time. Goodness me, that'll kill me. And anyway, we've already got a business that's running well, and I enjoy that immensely. Which is the Little Green Workshops. Toby says, any idea? Yep, we did that. Thank you, Toby. That was a veggie ricotta. Jason said, I saw you liked the suggestion of favourite cheeses to make and favourite to eat. Can you tell us maybe your 3 favourite types of cheese to eat? Oh, I've got more than 3. I like them all. All right, so ones I've been enjoying lately, if that makes sense. I really did like the ultra creamy buttermilk blue. That just blew my mind. Such a delightful cheese. Really, really good. The other one I really enjoyed lately was the raw milk camembert. I tell you what, that was absolutely oozy, delicious, so good. I really did enjoy that. What's another one I really enjoyed lately? I really do have this, it's not a fetish, it's a like for the washed rind cheeses, you know, the red mould cheeses. Even though they smell to high heaven, the taste of them is phenomenal. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to make the Morbier as well. So, yeah, so they're 3 favourite styles of cheese that I like, but I like them all. I love all the cheese. It's just, I don't know, I don't have any special favourites. They're just ones I enjoyed eating lately, if that makes sense. Toby says, sending love to you and Kim. Thank you, mate. Ruth says, oh, no, she's talking to John. George Washington. Oh, we've got a president. That's nice. Getting checked for the Chinese flu. First symptoms including diarrhea, loss of appetite. Oh, that's no good, George. I hope you get better. And it's not the Chinese flu. It's just called the coronavirus. Doesn't really matter where it started. The swine flu started in the USA, but we don't call it the USA flu, do we? So, anyway, Andrea says, what's a chemist? Wondering from Canada. A chemist is a pharmacist. Yeah, you get your medicine. Oh, all right, we've already had some conversation there. That's cool. Another super chat. Who's that then? That's Ruth. Hello, Ruth. Let's just kill that light. Don't want anybody going into epileptic shock. I don't want the show to end. I don't know when I can come back. Thank you, Gavin and Kim. Be safe. Oh, goodness me, it nearly is the end. Be safe and well. I hope the podcasts go current soon. See you all next time. Thank you, Ruth. Kim must be giving me the wind-up, is she? But thank you for your kind $10 super chat, Ruth. I really appreciate it. Okay, so now we didn't get through all the questions. Also, let's have a look. Yeah, Kim is giving me the wind-up down the bottom there. No, she's not. She says 10 minutes to go before the end of the show. All right, let's get to some of the ones down the bottom. I've kind of missed all of them. And there's another question here somewhere. Base Boost says, what's the best beginner's cheese? Well, try whole milk ricotta or sweet ricotta. Then I'd go on to ricotta salata, which is just fresh ricotta. Then from there, I would make quick mozzarella is kind of an intermediate cheese. I would then go on to halloumi, which is nice and easy. Feta, cream cheese. There's a few that you can throw out there. Go and search for the videos on the website. They'll be fine. Sarah Jane says, I saw somebody post your videos on Imgur, I think that's how you say it, an image sharing site. I got so excited. I posted a few of your videos in the comments so they could see lots more. Lots of love from Canada. Thank you, Sarah Jane. Really appreciate it. The more love that's shared, the better it is. Laura said down here, oh no, Pug says, thank you for your suggestion on the Meredith Dairy marinated goat. It's so good. I even like the goat sheep blend even more. Yeah, I tell you what, we've got a couple of jars in the fridge still, and we have a little bit for supper occasionally. That Meredith Dairy marinated goat cheese is just to die for. It is so nice. And they're only up the road from us. I'm hoping to get out there one day after all this is finished, all these lockdowns, and go and visit their dairy, do a little bit of a video, meet the owners. That'd be great. A little bit of an interview. That'd be cool. Valentina, oh, hang on, I've got a bit of a tickle. 4 minutes to go. Valentina says somewhere down here, they should host a cheese a day competition in Australia or somewhere else where different competitors bring out their cheeses to be rated. They can do cheese activities all day. Oh, there are these, well, not competitions, but there are cheese shows where all the artisan cheesemakers go and show their wares, and the lines for all their little booths are massive. But recently, there were two that I was going to visit, but they've cancelled their shows for obvious reasons. Ruth has asked a question, when will the podcasts go current? Well, I can't swap over to that podcast channel. I can't swap over to that channel to have a look, but I think it's about June, unfortunately, Ruth. That's when they'll go current. I'm pumping out one every 2 days at the moment. And yeah, for sure, you've sent in some questions, and they will get featured on the new episodes. So don't worry about that, Ruth. If you've got any specific questions, I'll just I'll go back. I'll make sure there's none that I haven't answered for you, and go back and answer those. Jay says, Gavin, I hope you and Kim are well. My question is, what title of the cheese making book you most often use, maybe? Look, I use all of the ones that I have on the shelf behind me. They're the ready use ones over there that I use, including my own book. Yeah, look, there's some really good ones. If I pop over just before we finish the show, let me just make this a bit smaller. And we go to the book section on cheese making. I'll show you some of the ones that are my favourites, if I can find the books. We'll just pop over to the desktop. Just quickly, some of my favourites, absolutely, of course, is Ricky Carroll's Home Cheese Making. That's a good one. This one here by some sneaky bloke, Keep Calm and Make Cheese. That's a good one. But one of my favourite technical ones is this one here. The Artisan Cheese Making, Mastering Artisan Cheese Making by Gianniklas Caldwell. Very good book, highly technical, and it's really good. More not for the home cheese maker, but more the small commercial operator. And there's one final super chat before the show finishes. That's from Charlie. Charlie says, please can I buy a Curd Nerd shirt? My girlfriend Evie loves you and wants one. Indeed, Charlie, down in the, if you go, and Kim's got a merch link there, the teespring.com stores /Cheeseman TV. You can find all the t-shirts there if you want to. But thank you for your £5 donation, Charlie. They do ship out of the EU, so I think they're cheaper, a little bit cheaper. But yeah, everybody take care of yourselves. It's the end of the show. Thank you so much for your questions. I'm sorry I couldn't get to all of them, but hopefully I got to most of them. There are just so many. For an hour, it just goes so quickly, and I don't want it to end either. I'd love to maybe do a 2-hour one. Well, I'll have a talk to Kim about it, see if she's up for it. But I'm sure people would watch it just to get their questions answered. But shout out down the bottom, quick chat if you reckon a 2-hour show would be good. I don't know if my lights would handle it. I have to get something on my lights to fix that up, but maybe that'll work. But thank you, everybody. Kim's put the links there. If you want to visit the store, like I said, we're working on getting international shipping going again soon. Hopefully work, but anybody in Australia, you can purchase stuff from the store, littlegreenworkshops.com.au. If you want to hit the join button down below, you can become a financial YouTube member, and all the perks that go with that, as well as a Patreon. There's a Patreon link there. And don't forget the cheese t-shirts. Either on the merch shelf down below, you can get the t-shirts, or go over to teespring.com/stores/CheesemanTV. Anyway, thank you very much. Somebody said a 2-hour show. Yes, there's some. Oh, goodness me. Would you hang around that long? That's what I want to know. I can talk that long. I can answer that many questions, but would you hang around for 2 hours? Okay, I'll talk to Kim about it. See how we go. Split the difference, hour and a half. Splash you during the lockdown, 2 hours. Okay, Kim, you can kindly chime in. But anyway, take care of yourselves, stay safe, and like all good cheesemakers, don't forget to wash your hands. Very important on killing the coronavirus if you come into contact with it very quickly. Anyway, thank you so much, everybody, for watching this episode of Ask the Cheeseman. We'll be back next week, hopefully again next Saturday. That will be great. We'll see how we go. And I will schedule it as normal, and hopefully you'll get some notifications on when it goes live. Alrighty, thanks for watching, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.